All right. Well, maybe we can jump in. We have a decent group here. I'm happy everyone was able to come. Ben, thank you for coming. My collectibles help. Thank you for helping set this up. Um, and I figured, there's a part of me that's like, typically when I start any type of meeting and it's with people that haven't met before, we kind of do intros and stuff like that. But sometimes that can take up a lot of time too, and I know we want to be able to jump into stuff. But one thing, Saloni was, I'm just going to call you out here. She did a really nice job of taking a look at some of the like thoughts and questions that we had about this meeting, and she had some really good ideas for how to kind of, maybe navigate this. We do want this to be just, I'm sure, Ben, people are going to have questions for you, so it's going to be a little bit of AMA as well as I'm assuming maybe that you have questions for this group as well. So hopefully it is more discussion based and not just, you don't feel like you're kind of on the hot seat the entire time. Um, but I don't know how much you know about this group, this Cupcakes voice chat, which Claire actually was a huge part of helping set up with WomenxVeVe, is a channel that we created specifically for women. And the intent was, if you read our mission statement, it's, we talk about being, we want a safe environment for everyone and we want to be inclusive. And so we don't want this to be like oh, the women are over here and they're separated from the community, which they absolutely are not. Everyone here is very involved in the community. But also we felt like this channel helped us to be able to talk about things in a more, like if we wanted to get to know each other more personally, we could share more personal things without having to worry about it being on the full internet of like all of Discord, all these strangers that could come in kind of whenever they want. So that's kind of what we use it for. We also use it to plan some of our events and stuff like that as we do that. But a lot of it is just sitting in here chatting, and then we have a lot of people that are coming in here that aren't always in Discord, and so we have a Twitter chat as well that we kind of are using to help us connect as well that way.
Amazing. Well, do you mind if I just for a couple of minutes quickly just give you my thoughts around this first, and then I'm open to any questions. I'm here for you guys.
Go for it.
So look, when I first started at Vivi, one of the first things I did was just to go through the data about our user base, just to understand kind of where we're at today, to understand where we're strong and where we could grow and those kind of things. And the stat that stood out was, as you guys all know, this won't be news to you, but the vast majority of our current user base is male. And I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty sure that the vast majority of the global population is not male. So the reason that we have such a male user base is because a lot of the IPs that we have got through David and Dan's efforts have been IPs that they're into, and so our user base reflects those choices because they are, they're guys and they live in a Western country. So we have lots of guys who live in Western countries. And so the discussion that I had with them very early on was we really need to broaden out our appeal as a platform and as an ecosystem. And that will come down to a number of different things, including the IPs that we choose, but also the ways that we market, the ways that we brand, the people that people see representing the organization as well. And so I'm here to say we are definitely not getting this right just yet, but I would love to work with all of you here as we bring in new people into our organization to start to address that balance and become more appealing and make sure that we're not being exclusive to women, so that collectors of all kinds can come in and be part of this.
I think. Go ahead,
Sammy,
Tina.
how do you want us to engage? Is there a raise your hand feature, or
there isn't, unfortunately? Are you able to see the chat? So Are you on a phone or a desktop computer?
I'm on desktop, well, laptop, so. But you don't
Okay.
have to do tutorial stuff with me. I just, like, I would like to, when you're talking about user base, I would like to raise my hand respectfully, and I love what you're bringing up, Mr. Rose.
I think go ahead, Tina. As long as this isn't too large of a group, so I think we can manage it pretty well. If we get to where there's a lot of talking over each other, then we can just use the chat to kind of like, hey, I have a comment or something like that. But go ahead.
Okay, all right. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak. But just really quickly, like one thing that I really, really loved, actually, my husband and I really loved from the very beginning was being able to involve our whole family within Vivi. That's something I truly, truly, truly miss. Like we have a 14-year-old daughter now. She was 12 at the time. We have a 18-year-old son. He was 16 at the time when we first joined. But we as a family and even as extended family with cousins and nephews and like these kids, that's all they do. They are just constantly on apps. They are constantly digital. Like everything in their lives, it revolves around fun and interactive and engaging, and especially what Vivi has to offer. So, like I even thought, oh, great, she's 14 now. Maybe we can go ahead and get her back into Vivi because she it's like she just kind of has no interest now because she can't really participate. But
Yeah.
I wondered if there is any way or any plans to do that because I think like that's what I always hear is there's not enough users in VV, not enough users. And then you're talking about females. So as a parent and a mother, I do almost anything for my kids. So whatever they're into, I learn about. I invest in. I have to like if I got one last, PlayStation game or whatever they're
Definitely.
into, I'm
Yep.
so engaged. I am into it. I learn it. I love it, but I love it because of their interest level. So I definitely wanted to chime in on that because I think there's like a whole nother like massive amount of users that could like that's the future. So anyway,
Mm.
those are just my 2 cents. I won't take this over.
Can I just answer and also just to set the scene for the call. So what I'm not going to do, just heads up, is I'm not going to say awesome, we're going to go and do that. We'll have that done in 2 weeks. What I'm here to do is take ideas and feedback, and we will then we will absolutely have a look at those and consider those. But what we'll do is we'll prioritize them against other things, right? So, but I love that idea. I know there are some challenges around KYC and the reasons why we have to do that, but I've noted that. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for speaking up, Tina. And don't ever apologize for speaking up. I think did someone else go off mute? I don't want to talk over someone.
I did. No, I did, and I wanted to elaborate, add something to what Tina was saying. Is I'm very involved with my grandkids, and unfortunately, well, it's good for me. I moved, and I'm far away. And when I was home, they were always on my phone. They've got their own showrooms, and they really. And then once they figured out that I got beta for the metaverse and all this stuff, they want to be able to log on to do their showrooms because the only reason why I got onto beta for the metaverse is because of them. Because I am not good with that stuff. But these kids, they can do so many things. And even if to start, if we had like for me, like Tina's kids are older, my grandkids are younger, they're 9 and 10. If I could have like a parent control, because I am not giving them my username and password for them to accidentally sell my gold and silver logo.
Yeah.
So if there was like a parent control or something so they can still go on and do stuff when I'm not there, that would be absolutely amazing.
Cool.
Or even like a secondary membership type thing that's under the parent. I think that might be an idea too, where it is a little bit controlled, but it's still theirs. They can still access it, but you're monitoring it. And I really miss the gifting features too. Like we used to gift to all our nieces and nephews and our kids' friends, involving them in VV. But then once the KYC rolled out, it all died out. Like they're just like,
the challenge with the gifting thing is, and we would love to reintroduce that because we know everybody wants it. The problem with it is it's quite a big money laundering risk because you could gift something to someone and they give you money off platform and kind of thing, and that just introduces a whole load of risk, like regulatory risk. So we're keeping an eye on how things might change, but at the moment, it's not on the cards. We'd love it to be, but it's just not something that we can do.
Okay, makes sense. Maybe there's even something we could buy that's like, you know how you guys always give those cards out at your events and it has like the QR code or like has has like the actual code. Maybe there's even a way where we could buy some of those in excess when we're at these events and then gift them. And that way we're not actually like digitally exchanging. Maybe there's like not this year, but I do see Vivi like it's surrounded by that age group, Disney, Marvel. Like, I mean, every time Moana just came out. I mean, it's like I expected a Moana, like I just expected it was going to be something. Now they're kind of like insinuating another age generation of Moana with the little sister, you know. So I feel like there's like all these little hints and clues, and like, and they've just planned it out for many years. So I would like to be able to do something like that. I don't know. There's just some ideas to how it could be done. I don't know.
I like it. I like it. Thank you.
I know we have a couple of questions that came up in the chat, and I was going to go to Janie first, but Janie, you said that you're kind of switching topics a little bit, so let's circle back on, because it's something, Saloni, you had a question related to something that Ben said earlier. Do you want to ask that, or do you want me to read your question? It looks like you came off mute, but can anyone hear Saloni?
I cannot.
Hear her? Okay. Saloni, we can't hear you right now, so you might need to do something with your audio. So for now, I'll just read the question, but feel free to chime back in if your audio comes back. When you were talking about the majority of the users within veve are male, the question was, by majority, does it mean 70% or more than 70%? In general, women are less engaged in financial transactions as a whole economy. But how much, I guess, closer or farther are we away from like the economy's numbers? I don't know if I represented that.
Yeah, so it's more than 70%. It's quite a lot more than 70%. So it's at the point where it's not reflective of general engagement in in blockchain and crypto and new tech and those sorts of things. It's more I genuinely think it is really a function of the organic way that we have grown as a business and the IPs that we have chosen to engage with, and not just chosen, the ones that we can engage with, have started off by being the ones that David and Dan are into and have relationships in, and of course they are 100% male, and so I think we just haven't been we actually haven't been deliberate about it. We've done what you want startups to do, which is just crack on and deliver. Now I think we go, okay, we've got the opportunity to sit back and say, all right, okay, how balanced are we? Are we actually being appealing enough for everybody?
I have a question with that. Is there a way that you guys can analyze what users who are male versus female are trending with different IPs? Like what more females are collecting versus say males are collecting, and then maybe hone in on that to collect more of those like items?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're working with an external research tool which is helping us understand preferences, but not just by gender, also by age and also by market. So we're having a look at that right now because we want to be very deliberate about the new IPs that we bring in and the new comics, because you'll know from a lot of the community calls, we're particularly strong in terms of our community in particular parts of the world, but there are huge opportunities outside that as well. And so if we want to start to get into Asia, for example, and other parts, Latin America, etc., Europe, we need to make sure that we've got IPs and brands that appeal to people there of different ages, but also both genders. So the answer is yes, and it's through working with external research partners.
Okay. Okay. Good.
All right. I think, Claire, I think you had a related question. Do you want to go and then go back to Janie?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfectly. Gotcha.
We hear your lovely voice.
I just hope you don't hear my mum. She's fast asleep in the hotel room here sleeping, so she might wake up. She wanted to be involved, but I'm not waking her up. Anyway, so, I mean, just to give you a piece of history, and OBL will remember this way, way back. I mean, like, this would have been like April 2021. Dan came out with a comment while speaking to us saying that 45% of the veve users were female. And it was like, what? Really? And so it almost became like a joke that we were trying to find where all these females were. But I think he meant 4.5%. It came out afterwards, which kind of like why it sort of made us look for one another way back in the day. And that's sort of like one of the reasons why, stupidly, looking back, we started WomenxVeVe. It was to see where the 45% were, because it didn't feel it was the right percentage. So I don't know. I think it was, it might have been 0.45%, but I'd like to think it was near 5%. But
I think now it's between 9 and 10% right now. So and that is I can confirm that number is not 45% or 4.5. It's about it's I think it's 9 point something or other. But whatever the case, it's not high enough. I think,
it's not high enough, but I know
50%.
that within that figure, there will be a high percentage of males that have actually KYC'd with their partners' details.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily saying that just because we've got that many users, that is actually the amount of active users that are in the app. But I mean, I remember thinking, was it an IP issue way back then? And I remember David saying, oh, we're bringing Betty Boo in. And I think the problem was that whenever you do an IP, I think the amount of time it takes veve to actually bring the IP to the platform. And I think the biggest example I can think of is LOL dolls. Now, my niece was absolutely obsessed with LOL dolls, and she was like, oh, Auntie Claire, when's LOL? By the time LOL came, not only did she not have any interest in LOL anymore because she was more into skincare products, it was more like, why are you showing me this now, Auntie Claire, sort of thing. So, you know, I think kind of like there's a lot of Disney characters that you could bring to the app that are still relevant now, that we would share with our kids. I can just think of like Toy Story and things like that. But yeah, I think there's an issue with that. But I also think there's like an issue when it comes to the way that probably we can market things. For example, you know, I've used it in family settings where you can AR a character into a birthday party, for example. So, you know, and as a social worker, I was using sort of like as part of my sort of getting to know kids, I would show them, oh, do you want me to take a picture of you with, I think I'd use a princess or some, you know, something more universal than what was current on the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think the challenge when you've got just guys running a company is, you know, they can say, well, you know, we'll get female friendly IPs in, but what does that mean? What does that mean? Because, you know, men and women like the same and different IPs. I think one of the things that we've just appointed a new chief customer officer who she's worked with me in a few different places, and we've just brought her in. We're just about to appoint a new head of comms and community as well, and I think by having some some really strong women in some of these leadership positions will start to get actually, representative voices and views in the discussion. So yes, it will be about IP, and as we said before, researching that, but it's also about the marketing that we do, where we choose to position things, the color palette that we use, the brand ambassadors, the spokespeople that people see in front of them. Because if people only see, it's the same as ethnic representation. If people only see one ethnicity, then they go, well, that's not for me. That doesn't look like me. That's not for me. So we're taking a much more holistic view of it. So IPs, absolutely, but I think we can do more. And I would love suggestions from this group as well, not just in this call, but separately. If there's stuff that we do that you see, it feels exclusive, or it feels too blokey, or it feels like it's not inclusive, please call it out and point that stuff out, because it's not deliberate, but sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Well, that's music to my ears, and actually I think that WomenxVeVe as a whole is kind of like a good place for you to be able to soundboard things as well. And I know you've got an active audience of women that really want to see veve succeed. We've been here for many, many years and many years to come. So I think that's, because it's more than just putting an IP that we like. So I'm glad to hear that, it's much broader than that. Definitely. So thank you for that.
It's Claire.
May I also point out, you brought up a really good thing, Claire. This is Tina. So I'm on a lot of panels too within my industry and my kids' school, and they're oftentimes very female, pro-female, or like all about this girl power stuff. And so I end up hearing, and I've even joined some of the Women of veve spaces where we're all talking together and kind of voicing our frustrations, or whatever we're juggling. And I think the time aspect and convenience are incredibly high priority for women, because they are juggling usually so many things. So even the process of a drop, for example, the crafting or the evolvables, or I'm not saying they're not fun and exciting, but when it's on a priority level of like, okay, now it's the holidays. Oh, now I've got a kid who's rushing to the emergency room. I've got to get dinner ready tonight. I've got to, I've got 15 appointments. I've got to clean the house. I've got to do this. So I always hear these frustrations from women in general, often, like all the time. It's just, how do you do the juggle? And they're always time blocking and checklists, and, so I would say definitely keep that in mind too, if you're trying to attract more women. Because whether they're just a house, stay-at-home mom, or they are running a multi-million-dollar business, like their thoughts are different, their priorities are different, and they're just kind of like go, 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 go. So if it takes too long to understand the fun part of the craft, or like it stays long, like sometimes, like I missed out on the Punisher one of the days, and then I couldn't go to the next day, and I was just like, oh, but it was like work related. I couldn't reschedule it. Like, it just was like, oh, well, now I have these guys. Oh, well, I'll catch up with it later. Doesn't mean I have no interest. It's just a priority. And it was just like more of a longer or complicated thing for me to try to learn or research, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Thank you.
Sure.
Magic, I think you said you had something to add to this, and then I promised Janie we are going to circle back to you.
Yes, I do. There is a person at my front door, so I might have to go on mute. But let's see. I wanted to add to the just the women on the app conversation, and speaking from a personal experience, I would not be on this app if it weren't for my brother-in-law Silicon, who heavily pushed the app on me and sort of like forced me to do research and understand. But there was nothing, there was no necessarily like driving force that made me interested. And at the time we only had like Batman and things like that. And so I feel like the vast majority of people that at least were early on found veve via crypto and omi, and I'm not into crypto whatsoever. Like, I'm still very shy about it. I find it daunting. It's just not my realm of expertise, and I feel like there's a lot of females that found veve through whatever means not crypto related that kind of fall into that category. And so for me, I always see it as a hurdle and challenge is how does the company find an organic way to onboard the vast majority, honestly, but also women, and having it not feel, NFT still has this bad connotation. It's scary. You could lose your money at any second. And so I personally feel that to be a huge wall is, and I think the events help, is being able to show people real time that it's not that hard, it's not that scary, but how do we find the workaround to, this isn't crypto, this isn't, this is just about you collecting something you love, and it goes hand in hand with things that you already love, and it's just complementary. And I feel like that's a way in which it would be nice to see a little focus on that, on a smoother way to communicate to people kind of what veve's all about. And we've seen that with, collectors at heart and all the everything changing, but I still think there's some work to do there because, if not for somebody that was heavy into crypto and tech, I wouldn't know about it. I still wouldn't have known about it to this day.
So our whole acquisition marketing plan is not about crypto, it's about collecting. So our affiliates lead is right now researching collecting communities, collecting key opinion leaders, collecting content creators, physical collecting, not crypto ones. The PR agency that we're working with, the brief to them is we don't want to get into Cointelegraph and crypto press. We want to get into mainstream media in our key markets where collectors go to talk about pop culture and movies and things. So we're not focusing on getting crypto people in. We're focusing on getting collectors in, because while the original NFT kind of boom did attract a lot of people in from that, the reason we're still here and others aren't in terms of businesses is because collectors are really into the things they're into, irrespective of how Bitcoin's performing. So we're definitely focused on collecting, not NFTs.
I would like to say too, veve Magic is actually one of the people and one of the channels, like originally that intrigued me. Like, I really liked her style. So I do want to say she definitely helped. But I think she brings up a great question. This should be asked. So this, you mentioned that there's, 9 to 10% female base. I think it'd be really good to find out, how did they find out about veve? And then the ones who have chosen to stay, like, why? What is it that they love about veve? Is it just the events? Is it certain collectibles? Do they already collect? So I think kind of learning from the ones that have, like, Orange Bag Lady and then Claire, I know, have been here since very, very early on. I think it's really good to hear from everybody. Why did they stay? That'd be a good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'm sorry, Ben. I agree with that, and I liked when we had Diana, because I thought it was very helpful to have a present and visible female voice in the community representing the company, and I think that is honestly helpful with just visibility for women, and like, oh wow, there's females involved in this too. It's not just all males. Like, okay, this may not be as scary as I thought. I think I think some women might just find the whole process. And the first time you look at the app, when I'm explaining the app to people in person, it's a lot to take in. You're sort of drinking from a water hose. Even though it's gotten better and better and better, it still is quite a bit. And I think, even supporting the female YouTube channels and the couples YouTube channels, and maybe reaching out to them more in ways that they can provide content that is, family friendly and might be positioned well to attract those type of users might be worth looking into as well.
Absolutely.
And my collectibles channel was also definitely just very, very like positive, so positive. Like, that was another favorite of mine too.
Oh, thank you so very much.
Don't say that. I've got a big head.
Saloni, do you want to try again?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, wow. Great. Okay. Hi, Ben. Welcome to the team.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay. Thanks for taking the time. So, as we were discussing about the women representation, I was just wondering that even if we come up with a lot of IPs that attract women, then it may not still be able to bring a lot of women on board because the primary database right now still is like 75% or 80% males versus 20% females. So it might be the chance that even the drop won't be sold out because it will be attracting just 20% of your population, right? So probably the first releases could be like just my suggestion. So like first releases could be something like a mix of both, where you could go with like something like 35%, 40% female centric, and as you attract more, then maybe going ahead with like 70 or 80% something female centric collectible or something like that. Just speaking from an economist point of view.
Thank you, thank you. So I suppose what I was saying before is that if we're going to do this properly, and we are, and we will, is we have to do it. We have to do it across a whole load of different areas. We have to make sure that we have IPs that are attractive, but also that we have marketing in the right places that is accessible. So we're working with content creators and affiliates, but also that we have a platform that works for women. So I think before, it's not, unfortunately, I don't think it's just a case of saying women all like these IPs, let's drop those, because as we've discussed, that's been an approach we've taken previously, and it hasn't led to the change that we hoped it might. So I think we have to make sure that we've got a team that represents the customer base that we have and the customer base that we would like to have. And so our team, bringing more women into senior roles in our business is going to make a big difference in terms of that decision making. Then making conscious decisions around, doing research with you guys to understand what works, what doesn't, and then using that to inform what we go and do. So for example, do we do a content series with WomenxVeVe? Do we identify key opinion leaders and content creators out in the collectibles world who are women and resonate with women? So that's the sort of thing we have to do as well as the IPs.
Sounds good. Yeah, I think it could work well when we have the content creators who are female, as well as Magic mentioned, that the couples, something like that, it would be really great. And I think most of the females here.
Oh, sorry, go on.
And I think most of the females actually came here through some male counterparts. Like I came through my boyfriend, and then I think Magic also mentioned that she came through Silicon. So yeah, it would be interesting to know who actually came directly through the marketing, so not through some other male counterpart. Yeah.
I brought the males of my family in.
Well done, Claire.
Including my mum and my gran and my daughter. So we've got 4 generations here. So.
I would also worry too, like I don't want, like I do want you to know very, very wholeheartedly that I do love everything about veve. Like when I do even talk to any of my girlfriends or any female that doesn't know about veve, it is hard. It's a hard thing to explain or for them to get. But I sit there and I'm like, how do you not get this? Like, how do you not get, like, it is amazing. It's so fun. It's exciting. So I want, on a flip side, like our thought, or like our motto is always appeal to the masses. If we're trying to sell something, we are appealing to the masses. We don't want to focus on one certain type of group, whereas we miss out on the rest. You know what I mean? So I also want to point out on the flip side is I hate to see veve change so much and go after, say, not the wrong group, but let's say the minority of the masses, and then we don't have as much interaction and as much engagement, because I equally love all of the male users as well. And I'm quite competitive. So I actually enjoy that part of it. And that might be something too that makes it a little bit more intimidating. Because even when I first joined, like if I joined a space or anything, people were like, there's a female. Hey, let her up, it was just so weird. It was like like the shiny like unicorn in the room or something, and it was just so strange. I'm like, is this not normal? Like, what is going on here? So, but I also feel like I'm sitting here thinking this through, and I'm like, okay, I can't even think of an IP that I would just be like, you guys have to have this, and if you didn't have it, I wouldn't be here. Like, you already have done so much. And if we're gonna like, let's say you're talking about like, these different things that you guys could put on, but if it's the same audience, I wonder, well, how will we attract more female audience? And then do we want more female audience? Like I'm just kind of being a devil's advocate, if that makes sense.
From a purely commercial point of view, if you've got a direct-to-consumer business and you want to grow it, you need to be appealing to both genders. Frankly, because if you're not, you're missing out on half the commercial opportunity. Do you know what I mean? So I think what we want is we want this space to grow. We want digital collecting to become mainstream. And so if that's the case, then we have to make sure it's accessible for everybody who's currently in collecting. So it's not about saying we're going to, we're not going to do that awful thing that Bic did when they brought out pink pens and said these are for ladies. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? But what we do need to do is we need to be really conscious and saying, are we, in the way that we're positioning ourselves in the offering that we have, are we excluding anybody? I think that's the most important thing. So if right now we look at our customer base, that says to me we're not quite getting it right yet.
That's a fantastic at it.
So I'm like one of the ones that got in on the crypto side first. I got into Omi first, then I found veve. So for me, it was trying to figure out how we were integrating Omi into the app, which we're now doing. I just have hard times because it seems like we're focusing only on the veve, which I know we need that to grow because that's what we are. But then we also have the other side to integrate with it also, which is what I personally came in for, was on the crypto side, not which I never was a collector until I found veve. I bought my first physical comic with Tina and Rudy 2 years at NYCC. So I am so grateful for the experience and stuff. It's just trying to figure out how to work both of them together.
But Tammy, can I respond to you on that? So I promise you, and I give you my absolute word that Omi is really important to us, and we are working on it, and there will be stuff that will happen in the next year. However, at the moment, I can't go out and talk about it. It wouldn't be the right thing to do to go out and talk about your crypto token at the moment. It's just not. It's not going to be in anybody's interest for me to do that. So at the moment, the priority, and certainly the public-facing priority, and the stuff that I will talk about the most, is getting the veve user numbers up and running, and that will be good for all parts of the ecosystem associated with it. But it's not something that's been forgotten by far.
And I truly don't believe that you guys have. If I believed that, I would have gotten out of the project a long time ago. I mean, I believe. I mean, I go to as many events as I can. I have backed off on some drops lately because I'm more of the Disney and Marvel kind of person and stuff. I mean, I love those. And a lot of it has to do with, for me to be like I was explaining earlier about doing it with my grandkids, or Tina with her kids. It's a lot more enjoyable for me to be able to do it through them.
Yes.
I mean, because ultimately, I mean, I go to the store and I see people buying those VR, I don't know what they're called, the VR goggle things. That is not me. I am not good with it. I can't, but my grandkids have those and they're on them. And that's where I think about all these kids and where it's going to go. And there's going to be a little app in that thing that says veve on there. And that might be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but I know it's going to be there someday.
For sure.
Hey, ladies, I'm going to pause us here for one moment. Ben, do we only have you for another 5 minutes?
You actually had me until 10 minutes ago, but I've just moved a meeting, so I've got another 20 minutes.
Okay, sorry, I was under the impression that we had you for 45 minutes. So how much more time do we have just so that I help keep us on?
Another 20 minutes.
Okay, great, nice. Okay. I guess anything else on that before I would really love to circle back to Janie.
Yeah, I
Can I
suppose
just
just
ask
on
about
that.
Janie's video? Did you guys see Janie and Max's video? How good was that?
Yes, it was so funny. I love
Unbelievable.
it.
Loved it.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I suppose it's just to bring in also the aspect of women on the app are going to gatekeep their children. Even, I mean, my kids are 20, 19 and 17, and I still gatekeep what I presume is to be a safe environment for them to be involved in. So I suppose having buy-in from women is an important aspect, and I think you've got a group of people that you would be able to soundboard in the future as well, because having females actively on socials advocating is actually quite a powerful message to give out, especially because there is a lot of negativity out there and a lot of us are hardened to it, but we've had to go through it as well. So we almost become a support mechanism for each other at times as well.
I should probably show you my ex DMs, and you could help me with those too. Tell you what, jeepers.
Yeah, you probably get the worst of it, but us females, we've been attacked plenty and on looks and everything. So you got to go
fat shamed, everything. But I think also there's always been this kind of like narrative that, and I don't know why, but the female characters never do as well on the app, and you'll always see, oh well, Supergirl looks really sexy, Elektra looks ugly. So it's always about males tend to look at the female characters and sexualize them. We've got one extreme user on X that, he almost makes Pornhub sort of footage out of the characters in stills and stuff. So, it's not always the best advert, shall we say. But yeah, it takes time to navigate.
And this is a good comment. I'm so sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, but I think we have never felt that we've had complete buy-in from, we as in WomenxVeVe have had complete buy-in from Veve either. We've spent so much time trying to differentiate ourselves and making sure that we are not speaking on behalf of Veve, but I think there is a place for Veve to support us and show that there is a space for women and there is a safe space for women. And I think we need to look at how that can grow.
I agree with you. And I want to just note Raven's comment. She says, I shy away from speaking up on socials because of the negativity. WomenxVeVe is a safe space. And Raven was one of my first ever channel supporters. And when she first popped into this Discord and I heard her for the first time and we started playing poker together, I was so excited because I was so excited that she felt like there was a place where she felt comfortable and didn't have to worry what people were going to say or how they were going to react or what sort of nasty comments that she could or could not receive. And so that's why, WomenxVeVe is so important to us, is because a lot of us, especially the ones of us that are a little bit more present on socials, have experienced this. And we want to have our own, community and niche where, sure, everybody's invited, but we will not tolerate, being unkind to each other. So we just want to continue to grow that.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for saying that, Magic. That's a really important thing. I think even leading up to this discussion, we made the decision to make it just for Cupcakes, so just the women here. And we definitely got some comments about that. I don't think actually I expected to have a lot more magic. I know you're out in there in the community more, so maybe you heard more about that, but I was pleasantly surprised with the support that we were getting and the understanding of like, hey, we just want to have this space to ourselves. We want to be able to say what we want to say without an audience, without worrying about getting trolled. And also, yes, we're going to record it because we want to share back with the community some of the things that have been talked about here, but we want to make this conversation as productive as possible. And we felt like this was the way to do it, at least for this first time. I'm sure we'll have other opportunities that maybe we decide to do differently. Should we? Sorry, Janie, are you available to chat now?
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
The floor
Hey,
is
everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Ben, thank
Janie,
you so much
when I
for being
hear
with
your
us.
voice, every time I hear your voice, it just makes me smile.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for saying that. That's my hope. And
she has an effect on everyone.
no, that's awesome. I did want to thank you, Ben, and Slammy Magic. I'm not usually on Discord for having us meet and talk, but I did want to make a comment. So I've been here since, for a long time. I've been here since 2021 with Max. And some of the legends that we have that have always been supportive, Claire, OBL, we've had a few others that have came and went in the community. But I was fortunate enough to go to the first decon, and there weren't many of us, and there wasn't much like representation of women. So I felt that going in, and not to give myself brownie points, I just felt it in my heart. I brought a whole bunch of comic books and I started giving them to any woman that I saw that was there with their partner, because I feel like it's so important for all of us to kind of support each other, especially in the beginning, since we weren't like a big group of women. I still have women to this day come up to me at different events and say, I still remember when you gave me that comic book, it meant so much, and they've stayed around. So I know, like, as the events have kept going, again, Max and I have been very fortunate to continue to go to the events. And then even so, like, working the events along with Magic. And I know, I'm not saying just myself, but I know just having that woman representation at the events is so important for moms, for grandmothers, for cool young women who come and like are like trying to ask about veve, and I feel like it brings more of like a welcoming. Everybody does, and I will say, shout out to our guys. My husband has always been a big supporter of WomenxVeVe, and I know there's so many others as well that have all opened their arms to like welcome us in and support us. But just having that diversity is so vital, I feel like, for veve, because that's what our community represents, right? Diversity, being open to everybody, spreading that love and that joy. And at the end of the day, for me, mainly and solely, veve's fun. I make these fun videos with Max, so I think that it's important. I did want to kind of sneak a question in there, and you don't have to answer because I know that it's kind of tough, but I'm just wondering when and if we're going to have a calendar for 2025 on any upcoming events. That way, I think if we know ahead of time, we have that representation for veve, like for more women to come out, for like Tina was saying, and I totally back her up on that. As women, we are super busy, moms, grandmothers, we work, we do all the stuff. If we can plan ahead, that would be amazing.
I can answer that. And I'll tell you why there hasn't been one till now. So we have been, over the last few months, we've done a bit of a restructure in our marketing and community and events team for a number of different reasons. And so you'll have probably seen online a few people moving on. We've been adding people, so we've been growing the team. We've been specializing people on particular focuses, but also adding some skills that we didn't have. And one of the roles that we have been recruiting, and we've just made an offer actually this morning. It's now sort of midday New Zealand time, so we've just made an offer this morning to somebody to come in and do that role, is head of community and communications. And so we've got MC and Eagle doing an awesome job with all of the mods. We've got our events happening, but what we haven't had is a really strategic plan of how are we going to bring those two things together and do an even better job of them. So, for example, with our events, we'll do the three big ones in the US most years. But what about outside the US? What about Europe? What about other markets? Also, could we empower our mods in the places that they all live to run events themselves? So the reason I don't have a calendar is because I don't want to create it without this person coming in and shaping it. So the person we've made the offer to can start immediately. We've just got to negotiate details, but they'll start immediately, and then they'll sit down with my collectibles and with Eagle, and they'll start building that out very, very quickly. So my goal is to have a calendar in about January, is to have a planned out calendar of US, outside US, major events, minor events, and then work through with our different mods how that might look as well. And I know we've got some different proposals there about that, and that's how we can integrate those. So yeah, they're probably early New Year is when we'll have that. It's just a case of having someone on to drive it and lead it.
And that's really exciting, Ben. And thank you so much. Even though you don't know exactly when or how it's going to happen, I appreciate the communication so much. And I think a lot of people in the community have also noted that and have given you your flowers for that. So really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming by and like supporting all of us. I just wanted to say that as well. And yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Janie. And just so you know, I'm quite a tough boss, MC will tell you. So as soon as that person comes in, they won't have very long to get going. So the plan is we want to move fast. So we've got a bit of there's a bit of urgency around all this kind of stuff. So yeah, it won't be too long, I promise.
That's going to be awesome, and it's going to be exciting to meet you in person. Hopefully you'll be at one of those events. I know Max and I will try our very, very best to be there. We have been grateful enough to be able to be there and all the other ones. So I'm excited. Coming here.
I think
I'm very excited about that too, and I was actually going to bring that up. The only one suggestion I would please request. I feel like there should be one hub of information. There's Discord, there's Spaces, there's different influencers, there's the community updates, there's the I just feel like there's YouTube. There's so many different places to find updates. The blog.
Yeah.
I feel like if there could be one place, even if it's in the veve app, maybe it's on your website, but one place, and then it's a simpler hub to find all event, like your calendar. I love the calendar idea, and I've been begging for this for a long time too, because we plan out a year. So
100%.
Like I know October, like we're going to be in New York. I have my hotel booked. I just don't know for how long. So please yes, I love this, but the only thing I would say is if we could just simplify it where it's one place, and then you could easily click into whatever's your thing. If you like Discord, you jump into Discord from that one hub. If you like YouTube, you jump into YouTube. If you want to learn more about Omi and how to buy it, you jump right there. So Foster's, but I feel like it's kind of just everywhere.
That is a great idea. Thank you. Got that?
I can speak to that in just a really quick sec there, because I do know with the new person that Ben's mentioned coming in, we're definitely going to be working on ideas and plans around how we use and communicate on what platforms and, the way we do it. So it'll address some of that because, having that strategic plan of like how you use this platform and why and what goes there and what goes here. So it's better communicated and everything is smooth and we kind of have that strategic plan. I know that's big on the table. I know, Ben, you're probably going to be pushing for that.
You betcha.
We have just about 5 minutes left. So Claire, if you want to go quick, and then Dee, you're on chat.
Yeah, so I suppose sticking on the event kind of thing, something we wanted to do with WomenxVeVe, and we're hoping that Veve would support us in the future, is if sort of like the night before the parties, that the women know that there's going to be a WomenxVeVe event, because a lot of women are scared to travel on their own. and a lot of women won't go to some of the team party events in fear of being on their own, because it can be quite intimidating, especially if you're in another country and stuff. So maybe there's a way of kind of building on that as well. But definitely on the point of being given, it's like, I'm assuming you're not going to Auxerre at the end of January, but we never get told what's happening. And I know that there hopefully is a European event on the cards, but unless we get time to prepare, we work, we have a family, we need time. It can't be done, and the longer you wait to release the information, the more expensive flights are, the more expensive. So you're almost making it impossible for us to come financially the longer you take to say, yes,
agreed.
We're coming.
So I understand. So we've been quite reactive because we're a sort of fast moving startup. We will be the planning that we're doing, we haven't done previously. We haven't had plans around a lot of this stuff. We've just sort of done things. So I can't give you dates right now because I haven't got them, haven't written them. We are really conscious of people need to make preparations, absolutely. So we won't be just dropping one on you next week, sort of thing. But yeah, you unfortunately you just have to bear with us. But no, we definitely won't be doing Auxerre. And the difference in the way that we are working now is I'm not approving any events until we've got a decent plan throughout the year. Because I don't want to say yes to something early on in the year. We spend all our money, and then we find there's something really important later in the year that we couldn't get to. So we will have a plan, and we will have it very quickly. And we'll be conscious that people need to prepare, absolutely, because so do we. All the people that come to the event have families too, and my wife will kill me if I leave without giving her decent notice.
Music to my ears.
All right, we have about less than 3 minutes left. Dee, are you available to? I know you had something that you wanted to bring up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. Hi Ben. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you ladies for putting the space together and inviting me over. I just want to quickly say, sorry, I'm like out of breath. My husband and I, we have a podcast channel, and we both started off from veve, but we've also talked about other projects. But if there's a way that we can also help, promote or help you guys out in promoting and getting more women more comfortable or on board with stuff, let us know how we can help with that.
Thank you. Reach out to MC. He's the man in charge of that stuff. But we would love to. And I'm going to my action after this call will be to sit down with our new chief customer officer. To have some of these conversations and to put some of the thoughts that you've all shared with me into our planning around events, but also around content and around mechanics.
Awesome.
Hey Dee,
Yeah.
just so you know, you're actually you and Hinano and Magic and also OBL and Omi, and Janie and Max and other content creators. You guys are going to be contacted very shortly by myself, and Ben mentioned our new affiliates lead to talk about opportunities to support your channels and support your content and also support your influence in the community and just support whatever you're doing. So I'm actually just helping our new guy who you haven't met yet set up meetings, so he can get to know everybody. And I'm trying to give him a really good outline of who's in the community and what kind of content you guys create, and then introduce you guys so you can have those conversations. And that kind of stuff's going to be coming out very shortly. He's already here. We haven't announced it, but Ben referenced him just earlier in the call here. So you'll be hearing from me. and all of you guys, especially, in terms of having some fun content and opportunities to kind of like support what you guys are doing. And this is, as you know, this will be one of the first times that the company's ever done that because, we all come from the same place, right? We all know each other. So, just check your DM shortly.
That's really awesome. Those are all safe places for me, and I've learned so much. So I'm very, very, very appreciative that you guys are backing them. I think it's a long time coming, and it's really wonderful how much you guys are engaging the people that have supported you the most over the years. That's great. And you are making some great moves. I'm very impressed. Hope to meet
Thank
you soon.
you.
Hey, ladies, before
you.
everyone disembarks, Slammy is putting together a giveaway in the chat, so make sure that you enter that before exiting, so that you have a chance to win a collectible.
I'm doing it right now. I did it earlier, and then I realized that MC was talking, and I couldn't tell you guys, and only 2 people joined. So we have 2 actual random veve collectibles. And let me just get this done again. Ben, I know it's time for you to have to run. I guess I do just maybe want to, and Ben, I don't know if there's any closing comments that you want to make. I just want to really quickly say this was really awesome, both from the standpoint of Ben, you, and MC being here, but then also this, I feel like this is the first Discord voice chat that I've been in with this many people, and everyone is so respectful. There were no hot mics. Like it was really, really nice working with you guys to do this. So thank you all for that. And I think, Ben, we would love to do more of this type of thing. So I know I can work through my collectibles to organize some of that.
Yes, please. I would absolutely love to. Everyone, but thanks to everyone for having me. Lovely to meet those of you I haven't met before, and would really like to do this again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Good night.